Yeah, so these kinds of weapons are required so that you can strike at targets at distance. In this particular case, Australia's acquiring these to put on ships and possibly submarines in the future. And the intention here will be to strike at high value targets at some point, at some range within our immediate region, at least. It's a pretty significant move. It kind of signals and encapsulates a much bigger change that we've seen in our defense strategy over the last few years. So in the few years kind of running up to this, we've tended to focus more on how to defend our continent. It's a big continent, but we've obviously got some distance from our neighbors, and it's some expeditionary warfare. So things like fighting in Afghanistan, part of the war on terror, and so on. Now we're looking at a different kind of approach, one that focuses much more on the arc to the north of us from the Bay of Bengal into the South Pacific and into a kind of combined maritime and air operations against potential major states in the region. Yeah, it's pretty significant, and it's part and parcel of the deeper cooperation that Australia is involved in with the United States and the UK. Part of that, of course, involves AUKUS, which is going to involve the supply of nuclear-propelled submarines to Australia. But AUKUS also encapsulates a whole bunch of other technologies. Missiles and hypersonic weapons are part of that, as well as cyber security and offensive cyber tools, some quantum computing cooperation, a whole range of other things like that. So Australia really is trying to refit its military, repurpose it to fit with this broader strategy, this broader strategic change that I've seen, that we see across the region. And so this missile acquisition is part and parcel of this broader approach. Look, part of this is about the strategic change, but part of it is also about the assessment that Canberra has made that our warning time for a conflict in the region has been reduced quite dramatically. So in the past, up to around the late 2010s, we assumed that we would have about a 10-year warning time before there would be a conflict in our region. The last couple of strategic documents, including our recent Defence Strategic Review, assessed that that warning time has come down to practically nothing. So we really need to move fast in order to acquire the kinds of capabilities we might need in a significant conflict. Not that we would be probably fighting one ourselves. We'd almost certainly be fighting alongside our allies and partners in the region. But we do need to move relatively fast to acquire the right kinds of capabilities. Look, I think China is pretty concerned about what's been going on in the region, not just about the acquisition of missiles, but also some of the cooperation we've seen in the Quad, some of the cooperation we've recently seen between Japan and South Korea and the United States, as well as enhanced cooperation with some Southeast Asian countries too. But we've got to remember as well that China itself has a large and growing arsenal of medium range and long range missiles, as well as intercontinental ballistic missiles. And China's missile program is developing really fast. And so these acquisitions are really about countering that military buildup on the part of China. And so, you know, in a sense, it's a response rather than an initiation of any kinds of arms race.